I'm Oronne Nwaneri, and I'm going to be talking about cross-cultural video project, referencing Cross's 5 stages of Black identity development. I'm originally from LA, South Central to be exact. I was born at USC Medical Center, about as LA as it can get. But my family, my parents, immigrated to the US from Nigeria, from Port Harcourt to be particular, a large city in southern Nigeria. Our tribe is called the Ikwere tribe. This is a picture from my parents' wedding. It was an arranged marriage, but they knew each other for a very long time because they lived in the same neighborhood. I visit Nigeria often. My parents moved to LA in 1980 after my dad graduated from the University of Oregon as an international student. My grandpa on my mother's side, Gershon, was a cook for the British Army, and my grandma was an educator in Port Harcourt, and she passed away in 2020. I miss her so much. She was grandmother to about 20 folks and great grandmother to my daughter and my niece as well. So my mother is a Montessori school teacher in Atlanta, Georgia. She loves it and she's taught for a number of years. And I guess it's time to talk about my family, or Wenham, as it's called in the Ikwere language. I'm one of 7 kids, and here's a picture of all of us at my traditional wedding. My husband is in blue, but everyone else is my siblings or my parents. My oldest sister, Ali, is a paralegal, and she got her degree from UCLA. My older brother, the second born, is Kalechi. He is a bank VP and has a degree from UPenn and the University of Chicago. I'm the third born, but this don't have to elaborate too much. The fourth born is Yema. She's a hairdresser and the mother of my niece Eden. The fifth born is my sister Chinra. She's a database administrator with a degree from Kennesaw State University. And for the record, we are not twins, even though people assume that we are. CJ is the 6th born. She also got a degree from Kennesaw State and is a clinical research associate. And the baby of the family, Neka, she graduated from Georgia State University and is a legislative aide for the city of Atlanta. Education is something that's really major in my culture. Nigerian immigrants are some of the most educated folks in the United States. My earliest memory of education is going to the Compton Linwood Montessori School, Child Development Center in Compton. Here's my graduation from kindergarten. After that, I went to Virginia Road Elementary School in South Central for 1st grade only. Virginia Road may look familiar to you because the outside of the school was used for many TV shows. From 2nd to 5th grade, I went to Winter Hills Math, Science, Aerospace Elementary School. It was a top-tier school. Something that was really great about it is the majority of the faculty, staff, and administrators were African American women mostly, and some men. So it was a great place to be. Most of the students were also Black, so I was very submerged and learned a lot about my Blackness at an early age. Towards the beginning of my time at Winter Hills, the riots in LA started, or they took place. And I, at the time, lived on a busy street called Arlington Avenue. So I actually watched the riots from my front porch instead of on the news. Though I was really confused, being at Winter Hills surrounded by Blackness, we were able to come back to school after the riots and learn a lot about why these things happened. After Winter Hills, I went to LACES, the Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies, from 6th grade through 12th grade. It was a #1 school in LA at the time, public school, and college preparatory. We were the unicorns and we got made fun of for that. But I love unicorns to this day. After that, I went to Cal Poly Pomona University. It was the first school that let me in, so that's why I went there. There was no particular reason other than that. At my time at Cal Poly Pomona, I learned a lot about my identity and what it meant to be a Black woman in a majority white, in a predominantly non-Black atmosphere. I got a really cool job at the African American Student Center there, which connected me to NASPA's Western Regional Student Affairs drive-through, driving it during my senior year, and it was December of my senior year that I decided I was going to pursue higher education. I got very lucky in that about 2 or 3 months after graduating, I got my first full-time job in higher education at UC Riverside, and I learned a lot about professionalism there. During my time at UCR, I was encouraged to pursue my master's degree, which I did in the Master's of Science in Higher Education at Cal State Fullerton. After receiving my degree at Cal State Fullerton, I decided it was time for me to find greener pastures, and I ended up back in my alma mater at Cal Poly Pomona in the Office of Student Life and Cultural Centers. I was the coordinator of leadership. At Cal Poly Pomona, I learned a lot about politics, campus politics, and I was there for about 3 years. There was a point where I realized that I was not seen as my full potential at Cal Poly Pomona, and while I am a staunch and loving alum of Cal Poly Pomona, I unfortunately don't have too much positive to say about working there outside of the Office of Student Life and Cultural Centers. I thankfully was able to transition to to Pasadena City College as a director of Upper Bound. PCC is very big on professional development, no matter if it has to do directly with your job. So I took advantage of the NASPA Ujima Institute in 2019, where I met some of the most fabulous Black professionals from all over the country. They encouraged me to pursue my doctorate, and here I am. So I reference Cross's 5 stages of Black identity, racial identity development, and how I can explain my trajectory educationally. So stage 1, it's better to be white. My pre-encounter would just be my brother going to prep school and me seeing how his friends lived and things like that, and just kind of thinking it was better to be white, and it was luckier to be white. That was early on in my educational career. But my first acknowledgement of racism definitely happened during the riots, and being able to break that down with folks that looked like me really was helpful at Windsor Hills Elementary. So my immersion, active avoidance of symbols of whiteness. I can't really pinpoint that, but I know that there has been a time in my college career where I really just stuck to being around Black folks because of the microaggressions that I might face in school and things like that. Internalization, stage 4, connecting to Black peers, being the Black Student Union president at Cal Poly Pomona. Those were things that really made me feel like I was in stage 4. But stage 5 is internalization, and I feel like I'm living that now because I have a personal sense of what it means to be Black, and I have a commitment to the welfare of Blacks as a whole, especially Black students. And I focus a lot of my free time and my extracurricular time at my job to being part of the Association of Black Employees, participating in NASPA's African American Knowledge Community, and things of that sort. So that is how I'm tying this to these. And though I did not mention them specifically, I gotta shout out my immediate family for their support, even while I did this assignment. I'm so grateful for them.